The vast Nevada desert is famous for atom bomb blasts and mysterious military installations. It's been said there's secret stuff out there that could make Star Wars creator George Lucas drool. Billions has been spent by the government on projects you and I never see. The I-Team's George Knapp is here to tell us what he's dug up about these secretive black projects.
Paula, 18 years ago this month, the Air Force gave the public its first look at the stealth fighter. This reporter even saved his media pass from that day because the plane was and is so cool. What we didn't know back then is that by the time the military unveiled the stealth to the world, it had already been flying for more than 10 years. Earlier this month, the I-Team watched as the stealth was retired from service, which raises the question, what new toys are they working on out there? The answer may lie in patches.
Yeah, not much going on out here today.
A handful of aviation watchers and a lone TV camera were the only uninvited eyewitnesses earlier this month when the last of the F-117 Nighthawks, better known as the stealth fighters, flew into mothballs and into history.
Thanks for the ride today. Thank you for the show.
As far as outsiders know, there's nothing else of note going on at the Tonopah Test Range, a.k.a. Area 52. Nothing to see here, so move along. But the mere fact that the Pentagon is retiring one of the premier warplanes in the world speaks volumes to military watchdogs.
They have technology out here that they are evaluating right now, that they're working on. They say that is about 30 years advanced to what the public knows about.
Stories about futuristic weapons systems being tested in the Nevada desert at places like Area 51 are staples of aviation magazines. The military doesn't comment, not in so many words anyway, but there are clues.
It's a glimpse into at least a $30 billion secret industry.
Author Trevor Paglen collects colorful scraps of fabric, souvenirs from the heart of the black world. They're unit patches created by outfits you've never heard of, working on projects you may never see. The imagery is menacing. Ghosts, skulls, specters, spooks. But if you know how to read them, the patches are packed with info. Many of the patches have collections of 6 stars, 5 and 1, telling the world that the program, whatever it is being tested at Area 51. The lightning bolt is associated with electronic warfare. One way to guess what they mean is to look back at programs already acknowledged.
Grim Reapers was one of the old stealth squadrons at Tonopah, and it was the Grim Reapers and the Night Stalkers. And when those units became public, they had to change their names. Grim Reapers apparently was too satanic for the military brass, and so they became the Ghost Riders.
There are a lot of inside jokes. This acronym, NOYFB, is telling the world in not too polite terms to butt out. The exact words will come to you in a minute. In a nod to the persistent stories about ETs in the desert, there's a patch for Mars, Materials Application Repair Section, whose members were known as Martians. Their job was to repair radar-absorbent coatings on stealth planes. There are plenty of other aliens, too. The Latin inscription means, let them hate so long as they fear. This patch for the classified Flight Test Unit 509, the same unit involved in the infamous Roswell incident, includes a reference to an old Twilight Zone episode, To Serve Man, in which aliens ate humans. One version includes the Latin phrase, tastes like chicken. Sometimes the clues are not obvious until it's too late. This is the patch for the Bird of Prey. Note the shape of the handle on the sword. It's the same shape as the aircraft, which flew at Area 51 for 6 years and was then retired without ever being publicly acknowledged.
When they retired the Bird of Prey, nobody had heard of the Bird of Prey before. Then all of a sudden, they retired it.
Every one of the patches tells its own story. Many are completely indecipherable. The Minotaur, the Night Stalker, the Vindicator. In 30 years, maybe they'll tell us what we paid for.
The design of the patches is approved by higher up so that no secrets are accidentally spilled. Contrary to public perception, secrets can be kept and are being kept. We see what they allow us to see.
Gulf Breeze, Florida. 17 years ago, this was the location for one of the most sustained series of flying saucer sightings in American history.
Anytime that somebody says that there is something doesn't necessarily mean there was something. They have to be able to meet a scientific criterion of being real. Upon coming across the Gulf Breeze sightings, however, the configuration was radical enough that we could see up inside. And that was up inside was light, and it as though it was hot. and not only that, but it was circular in configuration.
Boyd Bushman thought he recognized what was powering these saucers, and he recognized it because he himself had worked on the technology. Bushman had spent 35 years in the forefront of weapons design, inventing the prototype of the Stinger missile before moving to Lockheed, at the heart of the American military saucer industry.
This is nothing more than 250 turns of number 30 wire, and we took the leads and plugged it into standard house current.
What happened next astonished everyone.
And there it is.
Even now, Bushman doesn't fully understand how this works. But when he saw the photographs of the Gulf Breeze saucers, he began to wonder if they were using the same technology.
See, it starts smoking.
This experimental coil is extremely dangerous and becomes very hot within seconds. But Boyd believes that explains the white glow inside the Gulf Breeze saucers, which he thinks are unmanned drones.
If you modify the voltages and the frequencies, this configuration may well fly. In fact, should fly perfectly well. And we believe that that's what the people in the Gulf Breeze experiment did. We have many, many little caveats of top secret areas. I've been in many of them. Did indeed stumble across this and probably did develop it.
Major Alexander P. de Seversky, one of aviation's most far-sighted pioneers, unveils his latest brainchild. This strange device is a model of his Ionocraft, a flying platform which he says could be put into operation 60 miles above the Earth. It draws its propulsion energy from the sun or light sent from the Earth. The top of the platform is energized and power is drawn from the bottom. The smoke shows how the platform, with no moving parts, creates its own lift. The Major says one platform above New York, another above Los Angeles, would permit direct television communication. It could intercept intercontinental missiles. The inventor says the Ionocraft would throw a curtain of safety around the U.S.
The iron and link component of the thrust is something that's very real, but it doesn't look like it's everything. It looks like there is a B-field-Brown effect, which is an asymmetrical capacitance. Now again, there is a high voltage between the corona wire and the foil that sets out the capacitance between the two. And since the foil is wider on top than the wire, it's asymmetrical capacitance. There are a number of different effects going on, but the idea is that this asymmetrical capacitance is really a type of field effect propulsion. The term that's been used is pulling itself up by the bootstraps. And conventional science doesn't like that. It violates Newton's laws, and it's questionable even in relativity. So we're looking at something that falls outside of known science. And that's been a really big debate. Is this just iron wind, or is it something more? And in solving this debate, it's taken us to that next step to say the lifters are valuable, but they're part of a much larger genre of technology. And that genre of technology isn't subject to debate. It's something so much larger, more massive, that when it takes off, no one will question whether or not it's iron wind.
And the thing that was very strange was there was no sound.
After 30 seconds, the object moved off, away from his patrol car.